From the early 80s, the idea that governments can only spend what they receive in tax was heavily promoted, especially by UK Prime Minister Mrs. Thatcher. She famously said, in 1983, "We know that there is no such thing as public money," and added, "There is only taxpayer money." To most of us, the idea that the government must tax more to spend more probably sounds reasonable, as Professor Stephanie Kelton puts it in her best-selling book, The Deficit Myth. Because we all understand budgeting. We're all familiar with this, so it has been easy to convince us that government money works the same way. It has been called handbag economics. However, like all successful advertising slogans, the phrase "taxpayers' money" invokes what psychologists call a schema, a whole body of emotions, experiences, and knowledge which mediate our response. Taxpayers' money is intended to create a direct link between government spending and the individual. But the idea that any UK government receives tax income, puts it into an account, and then spends from that account is just false. It doesn't work like that for a government with its own independent sovereign fiat currency and its central bank, Bank of England. So, where does public money come from? It's created by governments, by spending it into existence. If they didn't, there would be no money in the economy for public services, public buildings, roads, the NHS, businesses to grow, or people to spend or pay taxes. Still think it comes from everybody earning money in various ways, spending some of it, and paying tax with the rest? We can't dig it up, grow it, and if we hire an industrial unit and manufacture our own, the police take a dim view. It is created by the state. The money governments create is spent into existence on things like the NHS, schools, police, courts, the civil service, armed forces, and councils for public services. How is it spent into existence? The Bank of England, BOE, marks up the balance in the accounts of those receiving the money. For example, state pensions are paid, and a pensioner's bank account is credited. If the government decides to build a big new bridge, the BOE marks up the Department for Transport account, and they mark up the contractor's account. A government with its own currency, such as the UK, can issue as much money as it chooses to. Taxation is not a government's source of money to spend. So, there is no such thing as taxpayers' money. It's a politically convenient myth, a fib, a lie.